Well, senior lecturer at GIBS, Michael Goldman, joins us now to highlight how brands not involved in the World Cup can benefit from the event. And the executive for marketing and strategy at Trinergy, Hayden Townsend, will add his comments and views on this topic before getting into trends in sports entertainment. Plus, Nancy Gwama, head of corporate marketing for Samsung South Africa, joins us for the discussion. Before we talk about all that, I want to talk about the beer war ads that we just saw. What do you make of their marketing strategy, Michael?
Well, certainly the space in South Africa is going to get a lot more competitive, and SAB have had it very nice for the last few years with a 90+% market share, which has just now dropped down to 87%. And I think it's going to become a lot more competitive. So yes, Alistair talks about how Budweiser is this global brand, and for them the sponsorship of the World Cup is a global branding opportunity, but certainly they're looking to establish a stronger presence in South Africa, and that's why SAB is looking to establish a stronger presence outside South Africa as well. So I think it's going to be a lot more competitive. I think the latest ads from Castle are fabulous. I think they're doing a great nation building job. The devil will be actually at the point of consumption, at those fan parks, at the public viewing sites, not in the stadiums. Castle doesn't have access to that, but in those public spaces, it'll have to be a brand fight. And I'm afraid Gilroy's wrong. It is a brand fight.
Yeah, but you've got to love him when he says beer is an oxymoron. I saw you grinning away through that.
I love that. Yeah, you know, I mean, what's really interesting is many brands go into this space. So when you look at Budweiser coming in, what the actual link is, and this is something we're looking at very seriously, finding the link between the brand and the actual property that you're getting engaged and involved in. So when Alistair goes and says host beer, host nation, he makes the link for me, and I can see that and I know why they're there. Whereas if you take Bud and it's all about media exposure, it's rather superficial at best. And the question is, how are they going to translate that into a meaningful brand shift, and what is that brand shift that they're attempting to do in this process? So that for me is an interesting challenge.
Nancy, if you were the marketing director for SAB Miller, what would you do?
What I would do as the marketing director for SAB is do what they are currently doing, because SAB has got a lot of heritage in South Africa, and they are a very strong brand in South Africa. So what they're doing in terms of building the nation is actually the right direction. And because they are based in South Africa, they're bringing a lot of consumers that are South African based to support the brand.
Right, and competition is good, right?
Competition is fabulous. Absolutely. For the consumer, at the end of the day, competition is fabulous. And when you walk up to that counter and you have 6 or 7 options at the fan park or the public viewing site at your office or at your school or down the road, competition is fabulous.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's get back into how brands not involved or in the World Cup is going to benefit from all of it. How exactly is that going to happen?
Well, certainly there's been a lot of debate about FIFA and the rules and the South African government that's passed so many laws to restrict a lot of the rights. And certainly FIFA has those marketing rights, and that's fine, and that's one part of the game. But there's so much more that can be done. And really the way I think about it is 3 broad areas. The one is those companies in South Africa who have what I call soccer rights. So those are companies who invested in football in the past and are able to leverage that. So in the banking space, for example, ABSA and Nedbank. First National has the rights for the World Cup, but ABSA and Nedbank are doing making a lot of noise around football in South Africa, and in the mind of the prospective consumer, that muddies the water. I don't think that's ambush marketing, because I don't think they're infringing on the rights, but they're certainly leveraging the rights they have very effectively.
But the rights are so tight anyway, so they can't even overstep that.
And it's specific words, specific images, and if you're clever about that, be you Kalula or Nando's or whoever, if you're clever about that, you certainly have a lot of space to play. And Netcare might be an example we'll talk about, a company that really is cleverly understanding what you can do and what you can't do. But outside of football rights, there's also then what I call South African rights. So companies that being based in South Africa, through the International Marketing Council, through Brand South Africa, there are specific campaigns designed for our companies to plug into, where you have rights by your nature of being here, and you're not infringing on anyone. For example, the flag. So the flag is an icon, an image that you can use in your marketing that has nothing to do with FIFA. They don't own the flag, as much as people jump up and down. And you can do so much with the flag or the anthem or disky dancing or whatever it is. Those are publicly available campaigns. And there are a few examples of companies doing that really effectively right now.
Yeah. Hayden, I want to bring you in here to say more and more companies are investing in this term we call sports marketing. So it's becoming quite popular. Why do you think that is? Is it because of our culture as a country that we love sports so much that we're going ahead with this? What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. There's significant investment happening in a lot of the big properties, and I think that is because of that passion and that love, and it's a button that you can press. But the shift is actually going the other way. I think if you start looking at where the sports, so often referred to as the Cinderella sports, are coming into the equation. And the reason for that is that people are looking for connections that go beyond just the traditional viewing. People are looking at ways to get out and link. In the US, I think they call them the big four sports, if I'm correct, is dropping in numbers both from a participation level in the sport, from school levels, as well as viewership. What's growing, things like archery and kayaking and all sorts of small codes coming in, because people get to connect around that. So sport as an avenue and as a platform to connect people will always be present, but I think the shift is taking place. So I think post-World Cup, there could be quite an interesting space to watch where the money starts going and where people start going effectively in that equation.
Yeah. Well, Nancy, how exactly should brands that are not involved with the World Cup gauge from all of this right now? What should be their strategies forward?
I'll just take an example from us. I work for Samsung, a global leader in electronics consumer goods, and we've actually taken a different slant to it. And what we've done is we're actually sponsoring the Vodacom Blue Bulls as an official electronic sponsor. So we're trying to steer away from soccer because of those restrictions that we have been placed by FIFA. And we believe that, I mean, as a company, we do believe that sport is an important part of bringing the nation together. It actually motivates people. It's very competitive. It's all about team players. And as a company, that resonates with us.
Yeah,
we believe in the same.
But don't you find that over June you're going to miss out on a lot more because everyone's going to be focused on soccer?
No, I don't think so. I believe that, I mean, particularly rugby, if we go back to 1995, when South Africa actually won the first World Cup, everyone was united behind rugby. And rugby and association with the Vodacom Blue Bulls is going to actually give us a lot more brand exposure, and it provides us opportunities from a promotional and marketing point of view.
Yeah. Why the Bulls? How do you go about selecting a team?
Okay, the Blue Bulls has a proud history of success, and that actually mirrors the same history from a Samsung point of view. If you look at a Samsung brand history, we have actually been rated as the fastest global brand. That mirrors the same as the Vodacom Blue Bulls. Samsung also is ranked number 19th in the world. So it's the same thing as with the Vodacom Blue Bulls. They've got a they've got a great history in terms of delivery, and that is the same thing with us. So we actually go for sponsorship agreements that actually are going to enhance the brand.